Hi, welcome to Living Healthy with Amy Turner. Today we have a very special guest with us. It is Lamonte Wilcox. He is the founder of Fly or Fulfill Life Yourself program. And we are so excited to have you today. Thanks for joining us, Lamont.
Yeah, thank you so much. I take every opportunity to share the life-changing experiences that I've had and that I've been able to share with so many people. And I just want the world to have it. So I take every opportunity. So thanks for having me.
You bet. Okay, so I just want to start by saying I met Lamont in May of 2022. A friend introduced me to him and told me about him. She said how she is doing this program with him. And I was really excited to learn about it. And it just resonated with me right away. I was just like so excited. I've learned so much from this program and from Lamont, and it's totally transformed my life and changed me in so many ways. So I just wanted to have him on today to kind of share his experiences of how he came to create this program and what inspired him to do that and his story behind
Oh, well, thank you so much. I can't believe that was only 2022. You only started this in 2022?
Yep, a year and a half ago.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, wow, we've done so much since then.
That's for sure, I know.
Yeah, yeah. Our man, our community has grown tremendously, and we've been able to help hundreds and hundreds of people in that time period. So
That's
it's
for sure.
it's really exciting, and it's something that came to me just from life experiences, and what I was able to experience drove me to things that helped me so much. And one of the things is that in my life, myself, my family, and those close to me were struggling with some pretty heavy and difficult and even dark mental health struggles. And it wasn't something I was familiar with. It wasn't something I grew up around. It wasn't something that I understood. And it was just absolutely confusing. And 25 years into marriage, we were just really having a rough time. And it was really difficult. And I was one of those people who was just using positivity to get through. I mean, that was all I had. So, use positivity to get to the next day and hope that it gets better, and do everything you can to make it better. And we did. We tried every kind of thing we could find, everything that, in our within our reach of help with mental health, therapies and counseling, and even trying all the natural remedies and everything we could that way. And then eventually we ended up with medications because it was better than being dead. And there was a lot of real severe struggles in there. And and suicidal ideations were not an uncommon thing. And it was really uh, one of those just confusing times. If I want to say a way to describe it, is just so confusing that I was stuck. And my positivity was just to get me through the day and get me on to the next one. And I even remember a time sitting in church and looking over at this couple who his wife had gotten into a head-on collision with a diesel truck and was paralyzed. And I looked over at them and I thought I would trade them places and to get rid of all this that's going on. And but yet, if you would have met me and if you would have talked to me, I was a really positive person. I was very upbeat. I did a lot of fun things. I was successful in my career. I was doing things that the rest of this world would have seen on the outside as just totally great, better than average, way above average. And but little did I know I had all these things going on inside me that were causing all these stresses and anxiety. And I went for years with insomnia and just couldn't sleep. And I would just stare at the ceiling for hours and hours and hours. And I didn't think that, I thought, well, I was just, thinking about a lot of things. I just had a lot to think about, is what I thought. And I just positive through it. I never I never kept any kind of exercise program. I tried to eat healthy, but the version of health that I saw was still leaving me with lots of different ailments. And one of the key ones was hypoglycemia. I struggled with some really difficult hypoglycemia, um, what do you call them? The effects, I can't think of the word.
You're
So,
good.
the effects of that, and I had all kinds of things going on, and emotional ups and downs. I had to eat every 2 hours. I was, yeah, I had all kinds of things, rashes. I won't go over all of them, but for those of you with hypoglycemia, you might know some of those things, and it was really rough, and I struggled with anger issues because I just couldn't figure things out. I felt so confused and stuck that I just, really didn't, you know, really did everything I could, and I became really religiously zealous and really, you know, that scrupulosity started in me where I just try to be perfect in every way, hoping that obedience would get me there. If I could just be obedient enough, then everything would work out. And
I can relate to that. I've felt that too. So
yeah,
for
and I
sure.
think it's really common in
Yeah.
religion. I think that's a common difficulty is this scrupulosity that comes from having kind of an OCD version of trying to live righteously and live up to the standards that are
Yeah.
clear up here. And we overdo the standards. We make them bigger and more, important than they really are in our attempt to be perfect and to be obedient in every way.
Hmm.
And you know, there was a gentleman actually at church that mentioned a concept that has completely changed my life. And it was a concept that many are familiar with, but many don't truly understand. And it's the idea of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is the function on a cellular level in our brain and throughout our nervous system for these cells that are connected to be able to completely disconnect and reconnect a different way. And the way our cells are connected define and determine our experience. And so that that belief hit me, that possibility of a belief, because what I had seen and what I'd been told is that these struggles were going to be with us and that we were just going to have to deal with them. We're just going to have to cope with them and figure out ways to make it through the next day and to find a little bit more joy here and a little more piece of peace more often here and there as much as we can. And that's what I'd heard. And that's what I feel like many people that I've spoken to and worked with have heard. And it's just not very hopeful. It's not very exciting. It doesn't create a lot of drive to make change. But when I heard that neuroplasticity was the ability for these cells to disconnect and reconnect and change your experience and create any new pattern in your brain, no matter what it was, the anxiety, the depression, OCD, every other type of feeling we don't want to have can be changed. It really lit something inside of me, some part of my guidance system that I hadn't been able to tap into before just lit up. And that was just the beginning. It was just the beginning. And from there it was a long journey of many experiences and much effort. And and in my attempt to help others, there was many that were and I will say that initially it really took hold in me in ways that were just completely transformative. And when we go out and speak, we talk about the difference between healing, which is what most people in the world are looking for, is healing. And by labeling it healing, you only heal the wound and you don't go from the source of the wound.
Hmm.
You often don't go to the source of the wound. And so what we go for is transformation. And transformation is going to the core. It's finding the perceptions and the connectivity that are the cause of our suffering. Because our brain runs, and this is what I found through this research, is that our brain runs on a chemical system. And that chemical system is the driver to all of our belief systems, all of our perceptions. The way we determine every moment of our life is based off of these neurochemicals. And as a child, as we put this together, we learned patterns to get those chemical needs met. And those patterns are frustration, anger, depression, anxiety, things that lead to more severe things like personality disorders and even the most severe mental health struggles. And as I researched and studied and put these things together, it was totally transformative to me. And things started going away. And these addictive patterns in my brain started just deteriorating. They just started falling to the side. I didn't really work on them. They just disappeared. And my brain was finding reward in a new life, a new way of living, a new way of contributing, a new way of growing. And I was lucky enough to use this to change my career, leave my career of 20 years without actually a plan because my brain just knew it. It just knew it. I couldn't stay in this old career when I had this new standard. And I was able to start another little business that I wanted to start to free up my time.
Hmm.
And people think this is the miraculous part of my story, and it's not. But I was able to make enough money that I didn't have to work for almost a year, for the rest of the year I was in. And and in that time
Excuse me
period,
for a minute. Sorry, could
yeah.
you explain really quick some feelings and emotions you were feeling when you found this discovery?
Oh, it was indescribable. It was indescribable the freedom that I started to feel from all these patterns. Being stuck in all this pressure to
Hmm.
achieve and to accomplish for the rest of the world to see, and for me to feel worthy, me to feel good about myself. And I appreciate that question. That was such a great question because you're absolutely right. It was all about the feeling behind it instead of the external things in my life that were going on and trying to live up to being the father and the spouse and the church leader and the all these different things that I was involved with, the employee and all these other things. And as I let all those things go, my brain got creative. It started to think outside. It started to think like a millionaire, like
Wow,
a self-made millionaire, literally.
that's
But even
amazing.
better, the millionaire part of it was just the money side. That was just, I started this business and made all this money, and it didn't surprise me at all. And it didn't bring me tons of joy either because I was already happy. The
Hmm.
thought of my
That's
ability
beautiful.
to do it was already there. And I already knew I could achieve it. And I just did it with a purpose. And the purpose was to study and research this more because of how miraculous it was. And I wanted to help more people. I wanted to go deeper with the people that had more complex things. And I saw some of these methods being used in even in business settings and corporate America and mindset stuff and things to help people achieve and succeed at higher levels. And these high performers with athletes and everything using some of this stuff. But my goal was to help people that suffered deeper with more complex things such as personality disorders and
Hmm.
dissociative disorders and things like that. And so I spent the next 8 or so months just researching and learning everything I could. I learned how to research. I learned how to find the research coming out, which was abundant at the time. This was 6 or 7 years ago, and the Brain Initiative that the government started had funded so many so many labs and schools and entities that were out there to figure out the brain and why we were struggling with so much mental health and struggles and difficulties in this world. And so I calculated 500 published research pages per day were coming out at the time.
Wow, that's
And so
amazing.
I learned how to find what was valuable, how to filter through it. I learned how to bring large amounts of data together. I found people doing it so that I could get to the best data the quickest. And I really obsessed. And it was around psychology, the different type of therapies and dialectical behavior and neurolinguistic programming and all these different things to figure out and analyze why they weren't working when they didn't work. Why so
Mhm.
much of what we found was that it was temporary. So much of what we tried felt temporary. And
Mhm.
I don't know how many of your listeners have felt that, but man, it's so rough and so debilitating to try so many things that people tell you are going to help. And what we found as we went out to do things is that the goal that it seemed by almost everyone trying to help us was to heal or to feel better from the thing or get through another day or be normal. get to normal like everyone else. If we could just feel normal, then everything would be better. And it wasn't about transformation. It wasn't about the belief that you could actually completely change it. People are afraid to say that. They're afraid to because they didn't know how.
Mhm.
And so, my goal became to get to the core. And my question was always, why does this methodology someone's using not get to the core? Like what is happening that not get to the core that it makes it so they're not actually transforming at the core. And
Right.
what
I
I
appreciate,
found,
I was gonna say, I really appreciate how you explain the difference between healing and transformation.
oh,
That's
thank
helpful because I didn't really understand that until you just
yeah.
explained that now. Thank you.
Yeah, and so if you go to a therapist or an
Yeah.
alternative, maybe it's an energy healer or someone who, has these other alternatives that help people, and maybe it's even meditation, maybe it's doing yoga, maybe it's a therapy, whatever the different things are. Maybe it's, there's all kinds of things that can help heal.
Yes.
But helping heal, if that's the goal, then when you're done, you feel better and everyone agrees but your brain doesn't say, yeah, great, it's over.
Yeah. Right.
Instead, it
Oh,
says,
I see.
okay,
Yes.
prepare yourself because we got another wound coming up that we'll need to heal again.
Okay.
And everyone says, well, that's how life is. You're going to have to heal again and again and again because you're going to get wounded. But when
Mhm.
I learned about this neuroplasticity in my mind, it said that doesn't have to happen. It said you can rewire it to where it won't happen again because you'll learn from what happened. And by
Mhm.
learning, you'll be able to switch and rewire your response to that thing and therefore eliminate the wound. And as I
Wow.
started to research this, the neuroscience was the piece that helped me understand what was missing. And what we found is that things that are wiring us initially are at the core, and it's usually our childhood. It's as our baby brain is developing, and it's our parents mostly and our siblings and everyone, all of our caretakers, as our brain is being developed, are introducing this wiring of future trauma, future pain, future suffering, future anger, frustration, depression. Everything is being wired into us from
Mhm.
our surroundings. And so, based off of the neuroscience, it told me that this can be rewired. And you could go through anything and not be traumatized. Anything. But it was wired into us. So I'm sorry, parents. I've got 6 kids myself. And for those of you who are parents, we messed up our kids and we just don't know it. We don't know any better. That's what society taught us. And I'm here to tell you what we've learned and what we do is so powerful. And if you don't learn it, you have the same amount of power, but you're using it in the opposite direction. And you're implanting things. Even the best parents, if you're listening to the best parenting teachers out there, before I had kids, I studied the power of positive parenting from Glenn Latham, one of the best ones out there. It became a college textbook later, and it was one of the best. And I thought I knew the stuff, but I'm telling you, they still don't understand how to get to the core and rewire. And because of that, they're still wiring, even a positive parent is wiring into their children this future suffering, this future difficulty. This is a big deal. And I'm not trying to be mean or rude or anything, but if you walk away from this and leave it, you're leaving all this stuff in your kids and in yourself. And this world is going to just play with you. It takes over your life. And even if you think you're doing pretty well and you're pretty happy, you're one of those parents, I'm here to tell you, you don't know what's going on in the background. I know lots of really successful, happy, religious parents whose kids are suffering beyond what they ever thought could happen. And they're going through hell. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry, Amy, I'm going to share something really difficult right now that you
Okay.
aren't aware.
Okay. Okay.
But my daughter Mikkel,
Yeah.
her husband Austin, his older brother took his life last week.
Oh, Lamont, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. Oh
And
my goodness. That's heartbreaking.
just charges me up because we know how to do this. We have a program and a model that
Yeah.
undoes this wiring in people's heads. And I'd only met him a few times, and he was the coolest guy you'll ever know. And his brain just got out of this reward system, just played out, and he didn't understand on a conscious level what was going on, so he couldn't do
Right.
anything about it. And we teach people to do that. And so, you know, I hate to bring up something that's so close to me,
Mhm.
but it's not the first. And I think everybody can relate. And suicide's the extreme version of it. We don't even want to get remotely close to
Mhm.
anything like that for any of our loved ones. So if this is something for all the listeners out there, whether this resonates with you or not, pursue something. Don't just keep on going through life because you're busy, because you have these daily tasks that are pressing today, that you got to get the kids to soccer and those things pale in comparison. I have so many clients who are suicidal or have kids who've taken their lives, and their lives are completely different. They've changed and transformed in a whole new way. And now their relationships are amazing and their kids are happy and they're happy beyond their belief could ever exist before. I am happy today beyond what I ever thought could even I could ever even experience. It is amazing to feel this freedom at the level that we get to feel it. And you know, my story goes on to a lot of really interesting and fun things, but man, I just want people to know that I talked to a business owner the other day that was helping me with some marketing, and he said, "Wow, you either unlocked the world's biggest needs of the planet, or you've just got the most amazing Kool-Aid." That is a total lie,
That's
and it's one or the other.
yeah.
It's one or the other, right? So
Lamont, I was going to
it's gonna
share.
hurt. What's
I don't
that?
know
Yeah.
if I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but about suicide, my cousin took his life many years ago. And when my son Tyson, who's 16, well, excuse me, he's not 16, he's 23, almost 24. But when he was 16 at the time, my nephew's girlfriend took her life as well. And so and I think most people in the world probably know somebody who have taken their life, you know,
Oh,
whether it's a
oh,
friend
it's
or
rare
a
for someone
relative.
to know 10 people. Like I can name off, I I had a client while we were meeting, her niece took her life, who was 7 years old.
Oh,
And I have all the statistics. It's crazy. We are losing more people to suicide than some of the most catastrophic worldwide death tolls. We're talking influenza and what was it? Polio and some of the biggest wars, world wars, didn't take more people than what suicide is taking now. And and the horrible thing that we got to change is that they're wanting to take their own life. The other ones, they were victims to something or they had a purpose. This is someone wanting to take their own life. This is the most horrendous thing going on, and we're
right,
all putting our we're putting our heads in the sand because it hurts too much to think about something we don't know what to do about.
right,
But we know what to do about it. And
right.
I'm charged up to give this to the world because we have over a 90% success rate with clients. And we give 100% money back. And we rarely have anyone ask for their money back. So, I mean, again, tap into your guidance system or not. Either way, do something
Yeah,
because and if you want, you can bury your head back in the sand and keep living your life. But I'm telling you, it is so rewarding to take action and to do this. And Amy's a client. She's started a podcast because she wants to get this out, which is incredible. It's amazing. And I have a bunch of clients doing the same thing. I have hundreds that are trying to find ways to share it, but people can't believe it. It's too miraculous. It's
That's
it's
true.
too it's too hard to believe. So their brain makes it complex. It's like that's a miracle. The whole world's trying to solve this. How is it you could solve it? And it's
Right.
like, yeah, you're right. How is it? I don't know. I can't explain it. Come see.
I
Come
know I
see.
was going to say that's what attracted me when my friend shared it with me back in May of 2022. I was feeling stuck. I had done many different things that gave comfort and relief and for a while, and then I would get stuck again and do something else. And so when my friend presented this to me, I was like, she goes, Amy, she goes, you can overcome your anxieties with this. And I was like, what? When I heard overcome, because, I'd been to counselors before, and yes, they provide some techniques that, helped me at the time and everything. But it was like, it was always, here's some things to help you cope with it. It was always coping mechanisms, right? It was never, it's going to take it away. My friend introduced me to Lamont. I was stuck, it was a point I was stuck in my life, like I had been many times in my life. And then I would do, see a counselor, get on medicine, or, do a different program or what have you. And those all gave comfort and relief. But then I get stuck again, after a while. And so I was, stuck in May 2022 with, relationship. And she said, Amy, she said, this helps you overcome anxieties. And I was like, because I've struggled with anxiety, most of my life and everything. And when I heard overcome, my ears perked up, my head listened, and my heart was present and said, wait a minute, I want to learn about this, if this can actually overcome it. So I went home, I told a couple of my daughters who, struggled with anxiety as well. And they said, yes, I want to go to this meeting. I want to learn about it. They were so excited. And yeah, so one of my daughters is doing the program, and she had a huge breakthrough, struggling with being in cars, lots of anxiety over cars, driving cars and riding in them. And yeah, it was amazing. But anyways, I was gonna say, yeah, sorry. Okay. So but yeah, so for me, a lot of my anxieties have gone away, and some I'm still working with, but they're way lower. But some have gone away, and it's amazing. I mean, I have never felt so calm in my life. There's
Mhm.
so many aspects of my life that I would just freak out over and be, kind of inside, just have on all these emotions and really upset. And I'm like, wow. And the more and more I do this program, like every day, I change more and more all the time. And I'm like paying attention to my feelings. I'm going, wow, I'm so calm in this moment. And like months ago, I would be totally like, upset inside and thinking all these thoughts that weren't serving me at all. And so, yeah, it's totally transforming. It's really
Yeah, and I'll say because of the standard belief systems and the
yeah,
fears that are in our community and in our all of our systems, we can't go out and say, and I'm going to say that we don't have a program that heals people completely from mental illness or gets rid of an mental illness. But what we have is we have tools that teach people how to rewire their own brain so that they can overcome those things. And we've seen it over and over and over in a huge way. And we have literally hundreds of just miraculous stories of people that have completely shifted out and made it so that they don't have those patterns anymore and they are free. And it is just it's just miraculous. And we we do our best to put the emphasis on how powerful it is without breaking any rules or being canceled or anything like that. But it's hard because and the only thing we really have is to give stories. And right now we're actually gathering data. We're actually using some standardized testing for mental health struggles to see where how much people have changed. And man, I'm excited because I have clients that their stories just bring me to tears that I helped years ago. And the reason it brings me to tears is because they're not just better. they're flying high. They are living life at their highest. I just was showing somebody a post from someone on Facebook who was just getting engaged, and you know, in Switzerland at the top of some mountain after traveling through Europe, just living this incredible life. We have another one that was struggling with eating disorder and depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideations, and she's doing a TED talk. She's doing
Wow,
a TED
that's
talk
amazing.
tomorrow, and she's so lit up about it because
That's
she's so
huge.
excited to share it to the world, and she's been sharing it like crazy and has a Facebook page and a YouTube channel, and we just, all these other people lighting up are helping me, and we're gonna take this to the world. We have a lot of plans to get this out, and the key here is that if you don't learn the reprogramming process, then you will be the victim to everyone else's reprogramming you, including the media, including entertainment, including all the big brand marketers, all the corporations who know how to market to you. They all know the programming process, and they're programming us. They're programming our experience. And it's all going to take off with AI. It already has. AI knows us better than anybody else, and it can figure us out and how to program us. And unless we learn this process, we are going to just be susceptible to all that programming. No matter how smart we think we are, doesn't matter unless you know the reprogramming process. Now, if you found a way to reprogram and you already know it, great. I don't know why you're watching this this program, other than maybe you want to learn ways to help other people do it. Because some
Yeah,
people discover it on their own kind of randomly, but they don't know how, so they can't share it. But this program gives you a way to share it. And so, man, I'm just so excited. I'm so glad you had me come on this podcast and share, because it just it's totally life changing,
that's
and
awesome. I
the
love,
intensity of what we do is really where the answer is. But I want to clarify, we don't take people through their past traumas. We don't bring up old things. We don't work through stuff. We teach them this reprogramming their own brain. And you don't have to bring up all that old stuff again. That's a risky thing, by the way. Sometimes it backfires. It's actually, I've heard a lot of stories of it backfiring and
yeah,
making things much worse. And you don't have to do that. And it's not these intense things you have to do in front of other people. You don't have to process something with someone else. It's all you. It's all the stuff you do that you could do in your bedroom every day
that's
without
wonderful. It's so
you,
hopeful. I
and you
love
can
how
do
it
it
gives,
throughout the day. Yeah,
love how it gives so much hope. Lamont, could you please give an example or two of how the Fly program could help someone with physical issues?
yeah, and actually, the Fly program in and of itself is not directed towards like physical health issues, but
Hmm.
we just see that as a side effect. And it tends to be really common. And I've seen a lot of different side effects. Probably one that I hear back a lot about is weight loss. People just say, I'm not even really trying, but I lost 30 pounds. I had someone tell me they lost 30 pounds in the first couple months before they even finished the program.
Wow.
And and the
That's
person was
amazing.
only 5'2", so that was a high percentage.
Yeah,
And and so and I've heard that story from men, women, all angles. As a matter of fact, I think it's almost rare that it doesn't happen for people. Um, and that's one of many. For me, there was a whole bunch of changes, and a lot of times they are related to patterns, habitual patterns they have of how they live on a day-to-day basis, because they're now finding this new fulfillment that some of their old behaviors and habits were fulfilling, and now they don't need them anymore. And so they don't need those old patterns that lead them to that. But we all know that the mind-body connection is huge. And
hmm,
when we find congruence with our authentic self and our belief systems, a lot of our ailments go away. And I've heard of not a whole myriad of different things that have gone away. And one of the probably more extreme ones, or at least measurable and extreme and quick, are seizures. I've had
wow.
people that, after starting the program, just starting the program, have told me their seizures have gone. And months and months and months later, still tell me they've never had one. And I had one client that I talked to 2 weeks after they did a group session, and said that their grand mal seizures had not come back for 2 weeks. I haven't followed up since then, but the first 2 weeks, and he was having grand mal seizures daily.
Wow, that's
So it
huge.
wasn't a small thing.
Yeah, that is
So, and
huge.
again, these aren't my claims. This is just what people have told me.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you, and when you think about it, it makes sense. When you get things straight within your system and how you believe and and you start living life full and happy and fulfilled,
Hmm.
it's your brain's just going to start helping out instead of working against you, because we're self-sabotagers. Our brain knows how to sabotage us. It knows how to get us experiences that it wants because it wants those chemical needs met. And so there's a lot of possibilities there. And I'm not making claims of any sort for any individual. It's just that I've seen a lot.
Right.
So there's a lot of
Okay,
possibilities.
great. Thank you. And then our last question is, could you please give an example of something that parents could say in a damaging way to their children?
Oh, and I'll start off with it isn't actually so much what they say. Once it gets to what they say, it's way beyond the programming process.
Hmm.
So I'll mention some of them, but I'll say that it's the feelings behind it. It's the feelings behind what we do
Okay.
that are the thing programming our children. We've always thought it's what we do and they see us and they're doing it, and it's actually what we feel. It's what we feel behind it. So if our children are patterning their lives around our feelings, then what are we feeling? Because if we're anxious about our teenager because we're worried that they just aren't doing well and they're not going to handle it and they can't go into the life and they're incapable, and we're anxious about it and we're worried and sometimes we even feel depressed, what are they learning? Those
Right.
are all the emotions they're learning. You're doubting in them and they're learning self-doubt.
Right.
And their self-doubt is being projected into others. And then some of the actions, some of the things that we might say is like, I'm really concerned about you. I'm worried about you. Now that's and the attempt is that we're showing that we love. We're trying to show them that we care and love. But what we're projecting is that we don't believe in, we don't have faith in. And so then they do
Interesting.
the same. And for a younger child, we might say something as simple as, you make me so happy when you do da 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 da, right? You make me so happy. Well, we're just planting into them the idea that their happiness is going to be based on others, and their behavior needs to be based on other people's happiness and joy. I know it's crazy. We're all doing this, right?
Right. Right.
And
I wanted to, oh, I was
I
gonna
was
say, I
gonna
wanted
say
to
in
share.
church
Oh,
I
go ahead.
see I was gonna say in church I see these teachers say, now sit down and be good.
Yeah.
And the child is attaching, oh, so if I act certain ways, then I am good. And if I act other ways, then I am bad. So
Hmm.
they're creating this black and white way of thinking. And if you look into mental health, lots of mental health struggles are black and white thinking. Personality disorders, black and white thinking. Two different personalities, one's black, one's white. You got all kinds of versions of these things that we're implanting. And that's only two examples of hundreds of examples. And
Right.
here's the thing, once you learn them, you feel differently towards the child because now you get what you're doing. You know what you're going to do. You know the effect it's having on it. And now you don't have the worry, the concern, and all those other things. And what did you just teach them?
Right. I
Yeah,
was gonna say
it's huge.
when I went to that first session, that's back when you did it live, and I brought my daughter, she came. She said, you said you gave an example of, if you tell your kids, okay, be safe when they go out at night. And you said that actually kind of reverses it, where they're wondering, oh gosh, should I be safe or not? Am I not going to be safe or something like that? And my daughter turned to me and goes, Mom, that's what you do. That's how I feel. And I was going to say, just to add to that, usually I would already say, have fun, but sometimes I would say, be safe. And it was so good for me to hear as a parent coming from my daughter, that really did affect her, makes her question it. And then I was going to say the other day, this is how much, this program's helped me as a parent. It's helped me a ton. I've seen lots of changes in my relationships with my kids have grown a ton. because of this program, I'm just so grateful for it. My daughters and I were sitting at the table, and one of my daughters had a friend over, and she was sharing how how she would talk to, her friends at school about me, and how, because I've grown so much. I recently, now, if my kids and I kind of start getting upset with each other, I'll just be like, I'm going to go ahead and leave the room now, because I don't want to, have contention and be around contention, and cause that too, or whatever. And so, I've been doing that more lately. And she said, Mom, I've been telling my friends that, and they're just like, I can't believe that. My parents will just keep fighting with me, and they were just saying how they're grateful that I do that, and so it was just a nice rewarding thing, I guess.
Yeah. And the great thing about this program compared to any other type of parenting system or teaching is that it doesn't really teach you what to do.
Hmm.
It teaches you how to feel, which teaches you what to do. Because if you try to, every kid is complex, everyone's different, right? I know, I have 6 kids. I know people who have more than that, and even less. Some only have 2, but they can tell you, whoa, I got to parent this one this way, parent this one that way. So if you go out and try to learn the whole parenting thing and
Hmm.
how to act so that they'll behave, how to act so that they'll turn into what you want, then what is it you're teaching them?
Right.
You're teaching them to be actors, right?
Interesting.
From within. So,
Hmm.
and in so many anxieties and mental health struggles, it's about what other people think. It's what other people think about me,
Right.
because I'm trying to act and I'm not doing a good acting job so that they don't accept me and like me. Well, they're not accepting and liking you. They're accepting and liking the person you're acting to be. We're
Very good
teaching.
point.
It just goes on and on. And the great thing about this program is it's one system to help you get in a place to feel, to use your feelings as your guide, to feel into what is going to help your children.
Yeah.
And it's easy. It's not like, oh, I need to find this guidance thing this this thing that tells me. No, it's simple. It's super simple.
Yeah.
And everyone gets it when we teach it to them. It's like, oh, that's what you do. And everybody has patterns they have to work past to get better and better at it all the time, but it can be miraculous in one day. If you have a second, I want to share one story about that, because
Sure.
I
Okay.
I, I had heard a client
Hmm.
telling another client. I wasn't even the one being told. I just happened to hear them.
Hmm.
She said, my oldest daughter watches my kids a lot. She's 18, and we have butted heads and we've had a struggle, and she just resists, and she just doesn't want to do things, and she complains. And she said, ever since I started doing this model, she's just been so helpful. She's watched the kids for days.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this big 3-day event. She watched the kids all 3 days. But she said, not only did she help the kids, but on the last day when I came home late, the lights were down. The rooms were all clean. The whole house was clean. The kitchen was clean. There was
Wow.
a candle on
Oh,
the counter. And she opened the door
oh,
and she looked around and she almost started crying. She said, I can't believe this. The stuff that happens is so miraculous. And when she shut the door, all the kids were in bed with their pajamas on, and someone heard the door shut. And one of them said, Mom's here. And they all jumped out of their beds and
oh,
came around her and gave her a big hug. And she said, I can't believe this. Like, it's incredible. Like,
yeah.
it just blew my mind. And I was like, that's how it works.
That's
It's
how
in
rewarding it is. Yes. I was
because
going to say, as a mom, that just touches my heart so much, because that's what it's about. And the reason why that daughter did that, who was watching the kids, because she feels the love from her mom. It's about the feelings again. She's
that's what I
feeling
was gonna
loved.
say.
So she's returning the love, right? Now she wants to show her mom how much she loves her, because she feels it. And that's what it's about. And
Exactly.
I was going to say about the feelings. I kind of wanted to share a little bit about what you were saying about it's about the feelings, not the actions per se, but yeah, so that, and that is why, like, I would leave the room lately, because of those feelings. I'm like, wait, I've been feeling better and better with this program. It's helping me love more, be more calm and at peace. That now when I start feeling a little bit of, contention or whatever it is, I'm like, I want to get rid of this. I don't like this. I don't like these feelings anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you brought that up because um, when I first started this, I didn't realize what I was doing. And I've recently, in the last year or so, realized that when it comes down to it, it's all about love. It's all about love. It's feeling deeper. It's
Hmm.
being able to respond to the feeling of love. And we can't do it because we have all this wiring. We have all these fears. And fear is the opposite of love. And
Right.
so when we have the fear in the way, we can't love. So they don't feel loved. So when we're worried and concerned and we have these anxieties and frustrations and anger or whatever those things are, depression, it's all the opposite of love. And so what I didn't realize I was doing all these years with people is I was helping them to actually feel love that they have never felt before. And it starts with the love of yourself. Love yourself so much that you won't not love others. Like our limitation in feeling love is based off of how much we can love ourselves. If we can only go a certain distance and then we're doubting and we're worrying and we're concerned and we lack faith, that's where we're going to end for everybody else. And so it's about doing this ourselves. It's about going in ourselves. And that's the great thing, parents. I just want to say the bad news is you caused a lot of problems. A lot of patterns have potential to really mess a lot of things up. The good news is since you did it, you can undo it. You're the one who can undo it. And
Yep.
it's all about just learning this program. And it's that simple. So I'm so excited for people to come and learn more and come to an event. And I don't know when you're posting this, but hopefully you'll show in the show note caption where when our next events are. But we also have things online that you can go ahead and go see. We're building out more. We have a YouTube channel, we have a Facebook page. They're all under Fulfill Life Yourself. The acronym is FLY because that's what it feels like when you let all that off and you let it go and you start to know, you will know what to do in every scenario with your kids. You'll know what to do in every scenario. You'll be able to know what to do in every scenario with your spouse, with your relationships, with your work, with every decision you're making. It's not that hard. It's not this super difficult thing. It's a neurological experience. By consciously understanding the neurological experience and connecting it with the emotions, it makes it all easy. It really is. And it flows. And you can't stop. It's addicting. It becomes
That's
so
true.
addicting
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
because love is addicting when you really feel it. You want it. It's at the core of who we all are. And I was not a touchy-feely person when I started all this, but now I love it. I love it. I love life. I love people. Every time I meet someone, I look in their eyes and I see how amazing they are behind all these patterns and maps and
Hmm.
how capable and powerful they each are and how much they're each creators. And it feels amazing to see that in everyone. And man, I hope everybody gets an experience to feel this. That's what I want for the world. I want them to feel what it feels like to look at someone and feel so much love because and so much hope, so much faith for every one of them.
Yeah.
Learn to look at your children like that.
I was going to say, I know. I love being around you, Lamont, because every time you have a group session, I see you, I'm like, yes, you just have so much wonderful energy. And it's so like addicting to be around you because you are doing this program so much and you're living this constantly on a day-to-day basis. And I do feel that love from you and Mikkel, your, daughter that you do it with. The feeling is just incredible. And I love it. And I just want more
Well,
and more
thank
of it
you.
all the
Thank
time.
you
So
so
thank
much. And you know what? The only difference between you and me is I've had the model longer.
you.
That's it. Just have it longer. Live it longer. Live it more. Live it more every day, all the time. Live it in
Yep.
everything you do, and you will feel it all the time. It will light you up in everything. And every challenge that comes, you'll lean into it because you can feel love. And that's just what I want this world to experience. and I'm so happy that you're able to have me on this program. And I hope people will go to the website. It's just fulfilllifeyourself.com. And you can search on YouTube, Fulfill Life Yourself. You can go to Facebook, Fulfill Life Yourself. We have an Instagram channel. There's more videos there. There's other things. And I just want to also just put my heart out there for all of you that are suffering, because I did it for a long time. And I want you to know it can be gone. It can so be gone. And when it's gone, you relieve other people. You can't help it. You can't help but share it with other people. And I don't care how much anxiety you have around people, it will go away. I don't care how much you think that maybe your personality isn't one that is around other people. Those are all fears. They're
Yeah.
just lack of love. And when you learn that, every piece of that you learn, you get out there. And if you're someone looking for a partner and you want to have a life partner that you get to spend time doing, bring them to this program. And if you haven't found that person, this program will help you find it. I just want you to know that. It's totally true. It will help you have the most amazing relationships. So thank you so much, Amy, for having me on. And I hope to see
Thank you,
some of
Lamont.
your event or watch it or hear. I love getting on our Facebook group. When you join, you get to join this private Facebook group, and it's just exploding with people's love and their experiences and their breakthroughs and how it's affecting them. And I just want everybody to experience that. And if it doesn't work, we give you your money back. What do you have to lose? Come, come learn. Don't let the fears and distractions of life get in your way. And and I hope to see you. I hope to meet. I wish I could meet every single person that does this, and it just lights me up. So thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, Lamont, for coming on. Have a great day. And you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.